Much appreciated.
Of course.
Please don't hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, yeah, so I'm actually very glad to see that you're Team Gemini. And you represent Gemini. That's awesome. Um, I definitely like the '80s generation of Geminis because y'all have the Neptune and Sagittarius energy, which I think is very it's highly magical. It's something that's getting unlocked right now more than ever with the South Node. So yeah,
Mhm.
once again, like I'll be recording. So if there's anything you want to ask, please don't hesitate to interrupt. We see you were born 1:21 a.m. and that is your moon you're rising at the end of cycle, 29 degrees. So I just wanted to be sure, how sure are you of your time of birth?
What was your question?
Oh, how sure are you of your time of
Oh, I mean, as far as it being on my birth certificate, it's on my birth certificate.
birth? Okay, that's awesome because
Mhm.
yeah, so this grants you, um, this means that you are born with a master divine soul. And having 29 degrees Pisces moon is actually one of the highest level souls that one can realistically or possibly possess, which is so awesome because this is not only um, supplement to the quality of Gemini or its vibration you represent, but it's also going to allude to now how you identify with this energy because this combination gives you the vibration of divine truth, whereas you are the divine messenger, and this is actually common. Sorry, this is also what Prince, Kanye, and the Kendrick Lamar represent, and a facet of this vibration is that unlike other Geminis, you're receptive to the metaphysical, unseen phenomena and properties in the experience that now answer the question why, making you receptive to why what things are. So if Gemini answers the question what, and then Virgo answers the question how, and then Sagittarius answers what it means, then Pisces is going to answer the question why. And so you're able to discern why what things are. The why and the what. It's like you feel into the why and you're aware of it. And this, in a very abstract way, makes it literally impossible to lie to you because that one way or another, your Gemini sun will be able to sense what isn't true about a statement. And then if something isn't necessarily factual, your Pisces moon will feel that it's not really real. So even though both of these aspects do create potential for conflict, it's still also going to denote a very, very magical square. And this now makes you super magical because we see that your moon, your sun, and your Neptune make a T square. And it's aspects like this once again that are even more uh, pivotal because now as a Pisces rising, your rising master that's so many degrees, this speaks to your mastery of being able to adapt and kind of blend in with the environment around you and to sense um, very sensitively the vibes around you. And the reason why that's important is that's actually going to influence greatly what you reflect back to people Because if we think about water, water takes in the energy and the form of what's around it. So, and what's this? So, the reason why it's so important is you have a highly magical T square, and out of most people I see with this in the 80s, you actually I think have the most mastered T square I've seen so far, and it's actually highly the epitome of this is inherently controversial because it's lending forth reality warping through your imagination and through visualization and your words. And this is something that you're unlocking the hidden truth to apply to the world around you because your legacy is a Sagittarius 10,000 to change the way the world sees meaning. So why this is so very amazing is because we know you're not only a Pisces rising with your moon there, which means that you're an instrument of your own soul. So not only do you have this mastered soul, and I really take 29 degrees Pisces seriously because it's the final degree next to 0 Aries or 30 Pisces in astrology. So your soul actually has, it's not only a divine conduit of your angelic spirit, but it also carries the capacity to understand anything receptively at the final level. It's like you get, and I always like to say if Gemini is the start of the sentence, Pisces is going to be the end of the sentence. So it's like you're aware of the beginning and then you feel what the end is supposed to sound like, and those context clues help you fill in the middle, if not get it instantly. So we know as a Pisces rising, well, before that, you being an instrument of your soul allows you. It's a fancy way of saying you may sometimes wear your emotions on your sleeve. I say sometimes because the square to Gemini might inhibit you sometimes if it's not logical enough for that Gemini part of you. But we know that as a Pisces rising, Neptune rules your entire chart. And so it is not a
Mhm.
coincidence that right, which is another huge deal because Neptune is a trans-Saturnian planet, and so we're dealing with this aspect that's exalted in your chart in the 10th house that is somehow also a part of the square between your soul and spirit. When I saw your chart, I was really excited. In fact, I really believe that just because I'm speaking to you, I'm going to have a life changing experience that's going to adjust my perception. And that's the cause effect relationship between everyone who you gift your presence with in this reality. And it's just that in most cases, most people aren't going to add two and two together and realize that they're coming into this change because they had a conversation with you, because they bumped into you, because they passed you on the stairwell. Like, this is definitely something now with this Capricorn energy. You're getting ready to not only control and master, but I like how you mentioned you're also self-employed, and this is where you're going to really be able to harness these latent abilities more into your network and what you're meant to do. It's just once again you're a master rising. I'm actually a master 27 degree Taurus rising, so based on an equal sign, it shifts every house, forward. So because my sun is a lesser degree than my rising, my sun actually falls in the first house. And as a first house sun, um, I identify with being a Gemini, but as a Taurus rising, I'm ultimately a second house sun. So even though I fall in the first house and identify with my spirit, it's still a aspect of what I possess. It's still something that I have. So even though your sun falls in the third house, the
Mhm.
mastery of your rising just means that you've mastered the houses to the point where it kind of gives you a head start on the next lesson. So the higher the degree of your rising, it's just the literal denoting of mastery. So even though your
Mm.
sun's in the third house and you give people an awareness of the attitude, the third house Gemini is, I think, more Gemini than most Geminis because it's really all about the attitude. It's really all about, yeah, this is the truth, but this is how I like show it in a certain way, which affects my behavior, and or this is how I think about it. This is how I speak about it. And but
Mhm.
because you're a master Pisces rising, this third house energy is really more so a fourth house set. So you help people gain an attitude about, or you make people aware of the proper attitude or the divine attitude and perception around the truth of who they are on the inside, or the hidden truth and hidden experience that might go into what divine vibes that you sense. So what makes it hidden is Pisces is generally unseen, and so you start off by feeling these unseen vibrations or feeling these vibes, which now augments the truth you're aware of in a hidden way that allows you to bring to the surface that which others may not have sensed. And this is where Neptune is the most important part here, because the ruler of your entire chart, Neptune, just so happens to be directly opposite your sun and square your moon. Not only is that not a coincidence, it is a definitive testament to the mastery of magic that you are. I wouldn't even say that you possess, that you are.
Mhm.
And not only that you are, because now when I see stuff like this, I'm
Mhm.
learning that, of course, we're definitely not our zodiac signs. Our zodiac energies really more flesh out how we archetypalize our energy. So magic is more a product of what I have as a Taurus rising, whereas it's the divine depth and identity of who you are as a Pisces rising. So whenever I see that your central core energies are immutable signs, you're more of an existence than a character. So you've already progressed at this point through Aries and Cancer. So you have already developed the identity and character of this through your brand, which is great. You are born as what I like to call a magical existence, an existential divine truth, which now doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily tie you into just one being. It allows you to be everywhere at once, because you're representing a facet of experience and truth that can ring true for everybody, and thus now sets you up as like a primordial existence amongst other things. And this is everything that Neptune coming up on your first is helping you transcend, so that it can also transcend your physiology and how you tap into biosensory. So if we look at Neptune, we know that
Mhm.
Neptune is a Sagittarius. So the Neptune in Sagittarius generation to me is very, very amazing, because before it got anchored in Capricorn, Neptune in Sagittarius to me is what gifted y'all the ability to harness clairvoyant experiences to see into the meaning of an experience and to directly see the future. I would say
Mhm.
Neptune in Sagittarius alone isn't
Mhm.
necessarily the Neptune and Sagittarius is the easiest path, but it's like a that's so Raven aspect, where like you're seeing glimpses of the future, but you may not know how to contextualize it right. And this is where now you having this is where Gemini's with this aspect are kind of supreme, because everything that they think, they're going to get a vision where you can see. And from fourth to 10th house, this allows you to intuit very clearly the true meaning of authority figures, what you see in government, what you see in the world, and you gain this hidden truth based on the Pisces rising wisdom of divine receptivity that gives you the ultimate understanding of an experience that may not necessarily be a colloquial understanding that others know. So that also kind of could lend to you being misunderstood with this Neptunian projection. But
Mhm.
ultimately, but yeah, I was gonna say ultimately this definitely serves well to have you not only see into what your mind leads you to, but because now Pisces squares this, it has you feel directly into what you're seeing. and can help you understand this. This is where, unlike other Geminis, you as a Pisces rising, because Neptune rules Pisces, allows you more deeper insight understanding. So would you say you've experienced that with your Neptune position?
What was the question?
My bad. Would you say you've experienced that sense of clairvoyant ability, or just being able to see into the meaning of things in your chart?
Yeah, I would definitely say that I do. And a lot of what you said, resonates. I would just add that it sounds like you're walking in the street or something. Is
There's
that
a lot
like
of
cars
construction around me.
passing? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
cars passing. Yeah.
So I'm trying to like sense more of what you're saying and grasp it, and I am, but the cars are passing. But I would say that a lot of what I did hear is resonate, like it resonates definitely.
That's what's up. And and you work with hair, right?
No.
Okay.
I do healing work. I do healing work.
Oh, that's
I
beautiful.
do like I've had a business. I make candles. I make soap. I make bath blends
Okay, that's awesome.
and I do coaching as well.
That's awesome. The coaching is definitely crucial. So Neptune is going to allude to like spirituality, and in the 10th house, kind of being a creator of not so much not just spiritual material, but like if you were to create anything. So because some people could look at Neptune and be like, okay, that means I'm only going to create spiritual stuff. But actually, it's the other way around. It's like no matter what you create, it's going to be spiritual. Even if you created like a calculator, the calculator is going to have some kind of supernatural property that maybe it's luckier because they got it from you than someone else. And so like you're really ready to discover exactly what that is. And that has a lot to do with a lot of trial and error and cause and effect relationship, where you now have something by Virgo season to ground, like, okay, this is what predictably happens every time I get this. A lot of what you can set. So thank you so much for letting me know, because especially with the coaching, there's a lot that you help people ascend, and that's a lot of your legacy. You're ascending and transcending the world's relationship with the supernatural. And so this all makes sense now. I mean, it all sounds kind of sci-fi until we remember that you are the divine angel. And this is where the AC gets important too, because the sun is how you express what's inside you. And so Gemini is your expression of truth based on the divine energy within. But your AC is how you identify all that. And so seeing that it's on your moon, then you very much so are. You represent more of the divine quality and hidden aspect of this angelic mutable vibration. And so this also seeks to bring from the ethers. This also seeks to bring from the ethers into reality the truth that is not so common or conventional and may not always be the most understood to those who necessarily can't feel into the body. The reason why it will be now, though, is because of Neptune's ability to bridge that gap and to pretty much see the unseen here, especially as it relates to the collective energy that connects everyone. So it also is going to have, because if we think about Pisces allows one the ability to, in your case, feel how everything is connected in one, whereas Virgo is going to break it all down and discriminate through the pieces, which is its function. So this can definitely lend for you to kind of intuitively feel how everything's connected and that's how to interact with this holistic sense and vibration around you. But I also don't want to undermine the high level divine, spiritual / religious receptivity to mythological creatures, beings. This is where Pisces doesn't make sense because you can actually connect with beings that exist but aren't necessarily real, because now we're abstractifying the concept. And this is what now draws more into this God conscious vibration. Once we start dealing with concepts, once we start dealing with aspects, because you directly channel and tap in to these beings. But I just wanted to illustrate now the T-square you have takes the unconscious nature and subconscious nature of your soul and utilizes you as an instrument to actually intuitively be led by your own soul feeling, which is actually super awesome. But the only way this can be troubling is if your mind wants to know what's happening while it's happening, instead of just being intuitively led and flow with your soul. I don't think you have that problem, but anytime any problem will arise, it will kind of deal with inability to deal with that square. And this is where the unconscious nature of your subconscious mind and also Neptune is going to fill in the world of what you're actively creating, because you are actively reality warping your reality in a similar way that everyone has thoughts and ideas that make up their reality, except you're actually actively doing this for yourself and others. So in a theoretical sense, anyone can change their reality, but it's literally like your superpower to change reality. And like you can think a thought that warps it based on what's in your psyche, what's in your mind. Theoretically, like if you were very stressed out and if you were in a place that is feeding you with negative vibrations, this can actually, start to change elements of your reality. And the reason why this is important is a lot of this mechanism is unconscious. It's really more so what's being fed unconsciously to you that has to now be put into balance so that what comes out consciously reflects that. And the significance of this period is that you're reaching a level where instead of this unconsciously affecting you, now you have the ability to consciously control it. And not only consciously control it, but to actually tweak and directly manipulate how this works. And a lot of that has to do with Neptune, which is actually finally transiting closely your moon and rising. And so this is enacting and activating a Neptunian vessel and instrument alien quality. That's allowing you to read souls and spirit, or read souls and minds, or read souls, read minds, read auras. It lets you reflect the inherent God and Goddess back to each individual. And it's definitely crucial because this is the mechanism with which will help transcend your current reality out of the mundane and into more mystery that won't be mystery to you, because this will be everything that you identify with. And this, thankfully, is coming off the heels of a recent 10th house career chapter that you've manifested. That you've completed and are manifesting now while it's in Capricorn. So the 11th house chapters, a lot of your 11th house falls in the 10th house. So you're actually taking action right now to solidify for the rest of your life and definitely the next 30 years your career. So this is where delays are going to come through, and it's going to feel like things are slowing down, but you're actually getting ready for considerable breakthrough once we step into Virgo season, really, and the rest of the year. And what this looks like is, because Aquarius is your 12th house as a late Pisces rising, even though next year you're coming into the gains, because Capricorn season for you now is manifesting the legacy and the results from the work you've done, enabling more, enabling more freedom and control in what you do. And as a Pisces rising, connecting with the right friends who can help further your ambition. However, as a master Pisces rising, a lot of this falls in the 10th house and will really just be seen as more breakthroughs concerning who you connect with and what gains you gain from your career. Outside of that, next year it may have you be making very important business moves behind the scenes while the comparison for your rising. See, based on the whole sign system, you wouldn't have to wait for anything to come out over your AC because it's just strictly house based by sign. But other than that, appreciate you. Other than that, this definitely prepares you more than ever to define once and for all the nature of not only your reputation, but how you want to be seen and what upgrades and services you want to offer. Do you have any questions?
Not the I mean, you did say so. Basically, with what I said that I'm doing right now, that all of that that can be seen, and then you mentioned that if I were to even make like you said a calendar for no, it's not a calendar. You said a calculator, for example, if I was to make anything that like that part.
Which part?
That it was that if there's anything was made, like you said, for example, a calculator.
Yeah.
That it could be beneficial or help another person just because I made it. I think that's what you're saying.
Right.
Right. So part of that part, and so all of what I said that I'm doing right now is basically showing up in the chart as what I should be doing. That's
my bad. Anytime you say something, the volume kind of like cuts out weirdly.
Oh, I have a fan in front of me. Okay. So I was just saying that all that I was saying that I'm doing right now, like it's showing up in the chart, that's just basically what I should be doing, and I'm on the right track. And so what you were saying is that if I was making anything per se, it would be a benefit overall to the people that I'm helping.
Yeah, and you wanna one moment. Yeah, I'll take a shot top. Appreciate it. Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually more important about the delivery and not just delivery. It's actually more important about your presence than anything. Because there's everything that you're and this is more once again that metaphysical property of you. Just because the best and coolest thing about mutable sign energy is, for example, Cardinal, Aries, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer. They're activated by actions, and then fixed signs are more energy that you attract. Thank you. And so when we talk about mutable signs, it's all about just being, like having this Piscean energy, this Gemini energy. Whenever you're just there, things start to happen. Like your very presence at the highest divine level stimulates so much change, bridging in like realms outside of the third dimensional existence. And so on the surface, you're doing all this 3D stuff, but really it's just because you're there. So that's really, and that's where like opposite Virgo, like Virgo is specific, it has a modus operandi. Pisces is really just there. So like that's one thing that with this Aries energy is having you redefine focus and courage in as far as like and worth is like your presence alone is very magical. And Neptune is helping you see real time, the value and the cause effect relationship of just that. Hello?
Yeah.
So that's not to invalidate or negate what you do, because what you do is very important. But on the surface, it's really just more important that you're there. Like your presence alone facilitates so much. Yeah, and see, a lot of that's controversial to say, because that's not necessarily like, it's not tangible. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something you can see or calculate. But this is this is what, based on that, if we look at an inductive approach to reasoning, in fact, that's interesting, because I think you just helped me understand. I think like Virgo is deductive and Pisces is inductive, or vice versa. But it's like, based on that form of reasoning, you can start from the other way around. Like, you already know that your presence does this, so you can now work your way around and see what exactly is doing specific to that individual, versus the other way around, where it's like, okay, let's look at what happened and then see what I'm doing. You want to definitely, and then here's the deeper knowledge. You actually program the experience you're going into. So this is with this Capricorn energy allowing you to literally utilize other people you're around, so that you can come into this greater wisdom and understand more so how your magic works, and really how other people utilize your magic. And in a lot of ways, when you're around other people, they become more intuitive, their magic ability heightens, and a lot of this is the vibrational, perceptual work that happens so quickly. And that's why your energy is not only controversial, but it could be hard to explain, because there's a lot that occurs that you're not going to see in a science book, because science is not even caught up to you yet. There's a lot that science is barely catching up, as far as quantum mechanics and the physics of magic itself, which still isn't acknowledged, the cause effect relationship that you've mastered since birth. So the Pars of Fortune is on your sun. You're directly valuable. To give you context to that, I have my Pars of Fortune. I have my Pars of Fortune in Libra, and the two Libras I know, because it's in my sixth house of work, they have worked with me, and I've come into more money. I've come into more skill. I've come into more networking. So Pars of Fortune is very fortunate, and then see that your spirit is your own Pars of Fortune. You are the most valuable part. Your spirit is the most valuable part of yourself. And being able to express the attitude of divine safety, and knowing the truth of yourself. But the fourth house is also about home and kind of clearing that out too. I see this more as like an inner soul clarity and discernment that allows you to effectively, the deeper parts, or the hidden parts of every character. And if we look at your North Node, you recently completed a nodal return that completed your destiny, returned it. So this is aligning with Gemini, and South Node. The North Node is like 27 Gemini, so it's gonna go over your Sun, and the South Node is gonna go over your neck. You want to see the South Node going over your neck as releasing the full latent ability of your clairvoyant power or magic, and I want to extend forth through that Neptune and Sag opposite your Sun, is at a supernatural level the ability to telepathically on your mind, the ability to telepath, to not even telepath you, but directly take what's on your mind and show the other person is seventh house. Classic example of this, which will go down in history forever, is Jussie Smollett. And Jussie Smollett is actually one of us, because he's a Gemini, but he also has Neptune right opposite his sun. So Jussie called himself the Gates Prophet. That's Gemini identification. But then on the other side, he literally, Sagittarius is all about creation, and it's all about vision. So he created a whole scene at the camera, okay, looked at him getting jumped by people with Maga. And so we know that Neptune is delusions and illusions. So he literally created an illusion that showed other people something that was happening, but in reality, that's Virgo. It wasn't like that. And so that's the magic of your opposition. Obviously, he used it out of integrity, but the applications for this are infinite, and it doesn't have to be manipulated in such a way that these people. As a coach, this is something you can use to help people gain ultimate transcendence because everything that you're saying you can reflect intuitively with and what I say by that is like I already experienced this and I don't even have this. For you it's gonna be instant because of opposition. So like you can talk about cats and dogs and 5 seconds later a truck saying cats and dogs is gonna pass by. And so
Mhm.
that's that and that's a superpower. The fact that you can command that at will makes you a princess of magic. And so princess is a higher rank than queen. It's basically calling you a master magician. Your sun is 29 degrees. Sorry, your sun's 23. Your moon's 29. Your rising's
Mhm.
28. Ingersoll Lockwood referenced Donald Trump as the master of all masters. And I don't think he reads astrology. Well, I mean, Ingersoll Lockwood was born in the 1800s, so for him to predict the presence of Donald Sun is nothing but magic. And that has a lot to do with that too, that you have opposites. So Donald Trump has 29 degrees Leo rising, and he has his sun past 20 and his moon past 20. You and I have the two. And so this makes all three of us masters of masters. Why is this important? It means you didn't come in this lifetime to play. You know what you can do. You're an angel of the highest strength, a divine angel who is completed in the sense where you have the full range of emotions and perceptions with which to serve as this messenger of hidden truth. And with your Venus in Taurus, like mine is, unlike mine, you have Chiron, so you're able to sensually express and manifest true love with the way your body language can help ground others in nurturing capability, and how your words with your Mercury in Gemini can expertly do. How you doing? One moment. Appreciate it. Um, yeah. So a lot of your latent ability you're gonna see reflected towards other people. But like seeing that you have this like full range of ability and emotion, what this does is if we and this is why it's so important to honestly because like your very identity is controversial. Like everything that you do serves humanity to remind them that they're not limited by the challenges they go through. And this is what makes you such a divine coach because you can move anybody out of their challenges, out of their perceived setbacks. You literally have a gift of change and literal magic mastery. And when I say magic mastery, there's a level of see, we want to take into account that you're still clearing a lot of this energy, especially as a Pluto Libra. That's the most important thing. 81, 82, and 83 are very unique in that it's where we have the triple conjunction of Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. You have the four horsemen of the apocalypse here. I mean, it's technically not the four horsemen, but the same four energies that were conjunct in Capricorn are conjunct in your chart. And for the first time ever in your life, they're breaking through. Pluto is 23 Cap. And after this year, my friend, that inhibitive factor that may have caused trust issues because of the intensity of social interactions and a lack of
Mhm.
integrity that makes it hard to trust. And what I mean by that is you're aware of unseen dynamics that others aren't going to be aware of. And so it might be hard to explain why you can't really trust someone because you read their mind and you can tell that they're going to deceive you, right? It's just that kind of, and that's an extreme example, but this is something that has allowed you to deal with others with fairness and justice, and in a lot of ways it's part of your karma because you can help balance to rectify situations for people, which and you might not even want to be the hero here, but you're definitely able to transform the dynamic. So that inhibitive factor that's caused you this lack of trust, you're breaking through. And after this year, you're not only going to have more confidence, you're not only going to have more trust, but this is what's going to allow you to now really establish your gains in career and to really hold presence and leadership in your community, in your groups of friends, and how you really manifest this in business situations. Your MC
Mhm.
of legacy, which is awesome by the way, because this is a lifelong lesson that is only going to
Mhm.
empower you moving forward, and that whole chapter, like everything that used to really give you pain and struggle or uncomfort the last 10, 20 years is now going to be a
Mhm.
strength. It's going to be such a huge strength because of everything that you've went through. So it's so very important that you honor yourself, you celebrate yourself. It's not easy being a Gemini, and so it's also, I mean, actually, I used to say it's very easy being a Gemini, but it's not easy being a Gemini in this period just because of the transits, and to be able to.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not sure why
Hello.
that happened. Yeah, I don't know how I
Mhm.
got booted out, but I think I was saying
Mhm.
too much. But yeah, congratulations, all power to you. Mars is literally opposite your Mars right now. Saturn is square
Mhm.
your Saturn. Pluto square your Saturn. Jupiter is going ready to square Jupiter. So this is definitive breakthrough. This is definitive growth. This is definitive evolution. And now that your South
Mhm.
Node has been cleared, you're getting ready to clear all your karma. 2021, 2022 is the last 2 years of really just clearing the old BS
Mhm.
before you're ready officially. I mean, as a Pisces rising, there's a bit more sacrifice because you just have an ultimate sense of self, which is a huge attainment. Once again, like, you clearly didn't come here to play around. You have Isis, Osiris, Juno, Lilith on your South Node and Capricorn. So the South Node of
Mhm.
Capricorn energy is taking the
Mhm.
resources of organizational management and leadership, and it's allowing you to break through into deeper sincerity and how to feel about your value, and really just how to express and gain independence with your talents, with your career, with what you're doing, and to break
Mhm.
through as far as how you be this divine angel around others. Another cool thing about being a Gemini is that you have this Libra energy, and that's something I don't have. So like I lack the ability to. I mean, I don't lack the ability to develop it, but I'm not as socially gifted. Like I don't really follow social cues. You do. You're very intensely not only aware of it, you hold people accountable because you have an authority on social activities. You have an authority on justice, fairness, and polishment of character, the polishing of character, and artistry. So when it comes to dealing with others, you're
Yeah.
the, the mastery of Gemini gift of gab you have translates towards, if you think of Gemini as what to say, Libra is who to say it to. So you can
Mhm.
personalize your message intensely so that people think that you're speaking directly to them. And this is an area of expertise that allows you some of the highest levels of, assertive classic charm that is going to allow you cooperative transformation and intimacy, and how deeply you can get in people's heads. Because a lot of people won't know the psychological proficiency with how you use words in order to elicit reactions and see where people's heads are at. And all you said was 2 words, and you have enough
Mhm.
insight into an individual to know exactly what to say to them. That's a superpower. And not only is it a superpower, it's it's so well mastered that you do have the risk of damaging your soul if you aren't kind enough, or because your Libra energy could be insensitive to your Pisces energy, where
Mhm.
in the name of logic and objectivity, you can almost kind of harshly inhibit your soul's fantasy or feeling. Your soul will speak in the language of analogy, fantasy, and abstract visualization and
Mhm.
imagination because it doesn't have the air energy to put it in words. So the lesson is learning that it's not necessarily delusional as much as it uses these imagery and symbolism to communicate it, and is representing a higher reality, a more
Mhm.
metaphysical existence. So in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, you are the soul beyonder. you are metaphysical. You are beyond, and you bridge this divine vibration, and through your throat chakra and Gemini energy, bring all this into reality. And this is where this grounding with your Venus and Taurus and Juno makes you very committed to organization and
Mhm.
practicality, in an effort to flesh this out. And we're gonna see this all wrap around to Fusion connect with end of Virgo season. But I would definitely just also allude to the genius quality of your mind, because your mind is already fast in Gemini, and I will vouch for Mercury in Gemini. I think is the
Mhm.
smartest Gemini Mercury ever, just because of how quick and articulate you can communicate, express, and spot out fallacies. However, the opposition to Uranus in Sagittarius now
Mhm.
exponentially adds to the switch fiber of how quickly you can process information at literally the speed of light, and how unconventionally this causes communication with others. Would you say that you've experienced conversation with others kind of unconventionally and unpredictably go out of control? Or, and what I mean by that is, like, you could just have a regular conversation with someone and then all of nowhere it just like goes left field, or and this is usually on the other person's part, where like eccentricities start to express. I don't want to be too vague here, but I want to make sure this is like I'm trying to understand how this opposition works for you. But I would imagine that your Mercury energy stimulates in other people this unconventional dynamic and sense of eccentricity that can take things totally left field.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm not sure.
It doesn't have to. I think I'm painting it out where it has to go like that shit crazy. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be super
I
crazy.
think it's like really like it's where I'm not clear. Like I'm not really understanding.
It's maybe manifesting more in like an innovation with communication, where your words are able to stimulate unconventional visualization in others to see inventive solutions to what they're going through, or this really helps you think outside the box when it comes to seeing the world around you or dealing directly with people. But do keep in mind, of course,
Mhm.
the Pisces square actually does bring a fog in understanding and being understood, because one of the things about Pisces squares to Gemini is that a lot of what you say can be deliberately misunderstood. And I like to use Donald Trump as an example, because as a fellow Gemini, with the
Oh
29
yeah.
degree Leo rising, right? It's like
Mhm.
he can say he likes cats, and the media will be like, Donald Trump hates dogs. So that's not
Mhm.
just happening.
Mhm.
What's important to know is that's not just happening to Trump. That's been happening to Kanye West forever, and this is happening to every Gemini. So like,
Especially
it's
now
especially now.
with
Yeah.
the internet. If
Mhm.
you say one
Mhm.
thing, people extract that and kind of twist it around very easily.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
one of the important things to embrace is that it's not necessarily as much of it's not necessarily as much as a misunderstanding as it seems. A lot of this is deliberate, and not just deliberate, but like, done so in a way that,
Mhm.
done
It's
so in a
kind of
way
like
that,
2D dimensional conversation. 2D or
yeah,
3D.
yes, yes, it's keeping things in that
Mhm.
2D realm or 3D realm. And
Mhm.
I'm glad you said that, because like a lot of what you do is to bring things to 5 and 7D. And if
Mhm.
anything, and if anything, it prepares you accordingly. Because what you're being prepared for accordingly is like you've cleared a lot of the 3D portion of your life, and now you're
Mhm.
getting ready to step more into that higher 5D. And I don't like to say 5D, to be honest. I think that's cliche, but you're stepping into that higher dimensional
Yeah, it was just an
Absolutely right.
example. It was just an example because if you say that you don't like one thing or you like one thing and then people say, "Oh, then you must not like that." And it happens all the time. Then that's just like looking at one frame. So that was just an
Yeah.
example, but I knew you would understand anyway.
No, and your example was perfect. Because when
mhm.
I meant I don't like I just don't like how people use like the rhetoric to talk about like,
Mhm.
but the way you talked about 5D is on point. It's definitely on point, and or 3D and 2D is definitely on
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, a lot, but it's just very important to illustrate, accordingly that a lot. What's up, man? A lot of the awareness you bless people with directly puts them in higher dimensions. Like
Mhm.
it's like with, and the cool thing about this is you may not be always aware of it, but like you're going to say things in a certain way and ask questions in a certain way that force people to look at things different. I noticed that a lot with Pisces too. It's like certain simple things you do that kind of say things that make you look at it completely differently. Like I remember one time I was singing a song, um, and I said the artist's name in the song, and then my
Mhm.
Pisces friend laughed at me. He's like, "You actually said his name. Why didn't you say your name?" And it was like, "Oh wow, I didn't even perceive that I was singing songs wrong
Mhm.
this whole time." And that's what I love about Pisces. Like, they just give you a different perspective, and you're more centralizing the truth. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to tap more into your divine potential more. And this is something that you may have been flirting with because it's going to feel delusional. There's no way that tapping into this fully will not feel completely crazy. Is it delusional? Oh, it's the height of divinity. And you have this mastered so well, it's actually going to be hard to play like you don't know what you're talking about. If people do, it's just because of that gaslighting, Pisces.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
this is definitely where you're ready to establish the legacy moving forward, and create client bases, and really, I really think the most important thing about your life right now is the coaching
Mhm.
that you have the opportunity to provide to so many other people, because so many people are going to be enriched by your coaching. And I want to maintain one more time, it is less about what you say than you just holding space with people, because you just
Mhm.
being there,
Mhm.
and when that's revolutionary, like you just being there is going to be the healing they need. You can say zero words to someone, and after a session, it's like
Mhm.
unconsciously you sorted through their energy to where they're ready to go. So I just kind of want to
Mhm.
put, and that's kind of the magic of doing Pisces. Anything you do physically, it works, but it's not even
Mhm.
necessary. You just need to be there. Like it's just extra, and not only it's extra, it's like it's valuable. But I'm just kind of wanting to harp on how powerful and magic your presence is. So yeah, that's what I got. And do you have any final questions?
Well, yeah, because I mean, you said I'm looking at my chart, right? And you said that you don't find yourself to because I have the Libra or the Libra in the seventh house that you don't find that you find that I may be more socially like able to connect where people where you are not. But then I see you, online and you're very like out there. So how do you not see yourself more sociable if you're able
Thank you so much.
to.
That's a really good question. No, so what happens is when people meet me in person, they realize, oh my God, you're not that dude on. You're not as like you're not as amped as I saw you on YouTube, because I'm Taurus rising, so I'm more chill. I'm more like
Mhm.
listening, and like I can talk, I can have fun, but I'm actually really chill. So I on
Mhm.
YouTube, like I bring out that fire because I have Aries, but everything that
Mhm.
I'm bringing out as fire is by myself. So in that individual sense, online I can bring out, and now that I'm getting more comfortable being out there, I can bring that in public too. But
Mhm.
the Libra, the social cues, the
Mhm.
social clash, and
Mhm.
that awareness of like what's right to do in social situations. I don't really have that practice. I don't have that experience. I don't have that awareness. So when I go out, I sometimes don't know what to do. Like, and it's only until now that I'm 30 that I'm starting to gain experience. But like
Mhm.
Libra's Libra is the ability to conduct yourself socially. So it takes the Gemini truth, and now it expresses how to actually present that. And I
Mhm.
can, but I have Aries energy. I don't have Libra.
Mhm.
So Aries is savage. Aries is more about myself and what I think. So I can bring that socially, but it's
Mhm.
usually awkward. It's usually embarrassing, and I'm learning to kind of like, you know, um, I mean, now I'm learning that I'm not here to do that. I'm actually here to be that. I'm here to be the Aries, right? But yeah, and
Mhm.
you're right. Like, I do know how to be social someday because the Aries energy I have is in a social house. But I just love
Mhm.
to honor the classic charm that Libra energy has because you're gonna notice the social faux pas. You're gonna notice the social cues that really lend to fairness in human interaction. That goes all over my head. Like I'm completely blind to that. So I'm just learning to be more aware of
Mm. Okay. So then having those that seventh house with all of that Libra energy means that I definitely can, because I'm not. Like I get on a camera and I'm like, sometimes.
it. And that's cool
So.
because because you're speaking more of like social media outreach, whereas
Mhm.
what I'm really talking more about is like one-on-one social activity. So
It's
like
more one
that's
on
your
one.
authority,
Mhm.
right? And this is gonna
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
actually a master at that, and that's what's gonna help you with your coaching and dealing with others. It's why
Mhm.
you can transform people's characters directly. Because you know what you're doing, and knowing with the Aquarius. So even if you don't know what you're doing, you're very good at what you do. So it's like you're very aware of
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you're an authority
Okay.
of it too, which is the most important part. Saturn is exalted in Libra in the seventh
Mhm.
too. So this allows you to hold other people accountable to fairness in your dealings with them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I just know it also requires that, in order for you to be in a position to, have one-on-one connections and things like that. Now it's like you have to do social media and stuff like that.
Right. And that comes with experience. Like at first you might feel that way. But I mean after 2 weeks moving forward you gain that confidence. When you know what you're doing and it's fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
But I would say the most important part of you right now is your coaching because we need you. Trust me, we all need
Mhm. Mhm.
you and what you have to
Mhm.
share with us. So I'm gonna send you the recording to this when I get home.